Very first play of the game, Ike, they run it to the right side with Broderick Jones starting at the right tackle position. Steelers haven't been able to run the ball to the right side all season long, and they get a 5-yard gain. And I'm like, this is going to be different tonight. And Broderick Jones coming out of Georgia, where the Steelers traded up to get him to prevent the Jets from getting him. The term we used, if you go back and watch the show, is dancing polar bear. Now, I got to go back and watch some tape, Ike, but Broderick Jones has started 2 games, one at left tackle, one at right tackle. But his ability to move, to pull, and to get to the second level against opposing linebackers, defensive backs, and to move bodies at the line of scrimmage is downright impressive. And it is, of my opinion, he needs to start for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, I can't get into that kind of water. I'll let you talk about that kind of water. Really, you be talking for me, so I don't be tripping, right? But Broderick, we all like Broderick coming out of Georgia. We all like his athleticism. We felt like Broderick didn't have a ceiling. We felt like, for a guy to be 300-something pounds to play basketball, dunk, windmill, all that kind of stuff, it's a reason why we named you the dancing polar bear. We felt like Broderick didn't give up a sack at Georgia. Hopefully he can continue the same thing in the NFL. We just felt like Broderick just brought a different kind of demeanor when it came to the offensive line. Brought a different kind of young, athletic, energetic demeanor on that offensive line. So Broderick, what you see is what we thought we would see from a front office standpoint. It's just when you get into the coaching and the coaching staff, they just got to make sure Broderick is ready for 70-something plays. If it is 70-something plays, week in and week out. So that's on the coaching side. So we can't tap into that. Obviously, they're doing a heck of a job. But man, we can talk about Broderick and just the energy he brings. Seeing him run 15. 20, 30 yards down the field, whether it's a screen pass or whether he's just trying to block somebody extra so his homeboy can score. Seeing him celebrate when Najee ran right past him in the end zone, yelling, it just says a lot. Like, that's what you need. It's a good mix on the offensive line. Don't get it twisted. The offensive line really haven't had the chemistry of gelling all together with one another because they've been in and out. Now you're starting to see, what this offensive line can do. And one of the reasons why is because of young Broderick. You can say what you want to say. It's hard to go from left to right. You got to change one side of your brain to the other side of the brain. Then you got to change your muscle memory from the left side to the right side. It's a lot dealing with that. But he's so athletic, Mark. And when you get him and when you trade up for him, these are the kind of things he can do for this team. But you said it right, man. That first play, when it went for like 5 yards, you already knew what kind of game it was going to be.
It's really important that the Steelers establish that because in 7 of the 8 games, the Steelers have lost time of possession. Now, they lost last night, but only by a minute. Going up against, on the other side of the ball, King Henry and Derrick Henry, we know what he can do running the ball. That was my concern because you knew that that was going to be Tennessee's recipe with a rookie quarterback. So the Steelers don't get annihilated from that standpoint. And I also look at it, and let me put on my front office hat, Ike, and you're going to be limited in what you can say here as well. I look at the contract situations. Broderick Jones, you got a rookie deal. He's a first-round pick. Okay. Dan Moore Jr. is under contract for this season and next. He's making less than like $2 million a year. I look at Chooks, who got benched last night. He's making more than $10 million a year. So I'm looking at this beyond this season of who's your potential cap casualty. Eventually, I want to see Broderick Jones play left tackle. That's what you drafted him to do. But if that's what the Steelers need to do right now is to say, hey, play right tackle, Dan Moore Jr. is going to hold down the blind side of Kenny Pickett, fine. But that's how I see this playing out. But again, I've watched Steelers games all season long, and it seems every time they've run the ball to the right side, it just gets stuffed at the line of scrimmage, maybe a 2-yard gain, maybe if you're lucky. And when they got 5 yards on the very first play last night, and they go down and score a touchdown, they convert 2 third-down conversions on the very first drive of the game. And who's Najee running behind? Oh, number 77. That's what stuck out to me.
Yeah, so and I think the tides have turned, Mark. When it comes down to blind side or right side tackles, offensive linemen.
Ike, you've been all over this. Explain this to our viewers if they're just listening to this the first time, because I've had you explain this to me many times before.
So the reason why I'm saying this is because, usually quarterbacks are right-handed, and it's hard when you have, the Von Millers, the TJ Watts, the Myles Garrett's. I understand the blind side, and I get it. But usually your right-hand quarterbacks are the formation is set up to the right side, the left side of the defense, right? And when you have enough pressure that's right in front of your face, I'm not talking about it coming from the blind side. It takes a toll on you mentally as a quarterback because you see the TJs, you see the Miles, you see them coming right in front of your face, so it forces you to maybe step up and react quicker than you should have reacted, or maybe think and not slowing your mind down. Normally, what you would do if you wasn't worrying about your blind side. That right side for me, that right tackle for me, is just as important as a left tackle, Mark. So I can get somebody to chip on that left side. I can get a fullback, or not a fullback. I can get a running back, or I can get a tight end on that left side, and I can be all the way good because I know they're gonna handle it. But if I got somebody coming from my right side, and you actually trying to scroll through your read progressions, and you know you got a dog and TJ Watt on his right side, I need to play my right side just as much as my left side, because the offense is predicated because I'm right-handed where my progression should go, So that's how I always look at. We always talk about the blind side. The blind side is very important, I think, in my mind, but I think that right tackle is just as important than that blind side because of the TJ Watts and company, because of the way the offenses are based, because of the right-hand quarterbacks and the read progression. So you always go from right to left from a quarterback standpoint. If you got them TJs and them Miles and them Nick Bosa's and them Joey Bosa's coming from, your right side, it's gonna be hard to think because you're thinking hit, sack, pressure. So now you just rushing everything in your read progression. So we talk about a lot of that blind side, but the four guys I just named. If you look at Nick Bosa, Joey Bosa, Myles Garrett, he usually go either right or left, but TJ usually is on the left side of defense, the right side of the offense. Them four boys play on the left side of the defense, the right side of offense. And you can only imagine how a quarterback feels to know I got this dude possibly can come in my face every time. Not only mess up me physically, but mentally from a read progression standpoint, because I don't know how long I have.
I don't know if this is a dumb question, but I'm going to ask it, and I've never asked you this before. Is there a talent discrepancy when you're just talking about ability as an offensive lineman between the guys who play left tackle in the NFL and play right tackle in the NFL?
Man, you got to find them Brodericks. Because football has evolved now. Like, we can't think about blindside like how it was when I played with the Jonathan Ogden's, Hall of Fame guys, the Alan Faneca's Hall of Fame guys.
Joe Thomas. The list goes on and on and on.
On and on. We can go on and on about these Hall of Fame blindside guys, right? It's the right side now. So now these defensive coordinators, they put in their best pass rusher so the quarterback can actually see him. It's the difference between, okay, I got somebody on the blind side, I got an offensive guard or blase. I'm not really thinking like that. Now we putting Miles, TJ, Nick, and Joey on the right side of the offense so you can actually see me.
But are there teams that aren't cognizant of this is what I'm asking, like when they're drafting? Because when you think of, we're going to draft the offensive tackle in the first rounds. Even when the Steelers drafted Broderick Jones, it was, we want him at the left tackle position, not the right tackle position. Is there a talent discrepancy? It's like, I guess the one guy I could think of, Ike, would be Jack Conklin over in Cleveland. And they signed him. He was over in Tennessee. Now, he's had injury problems, no doubt, but he was the guy who helped make King Henry what he is. When King Henry was almost going for, 2,000 yards, they were running to the right a lot. So I guess what I'm asking is just like, the perception I get, Ike, is when you're talking about stud offensive tackles, a lot of times we're talking about the Trent Williams of the world. I traditionally think of left tackle and not right tackle. but maybe the smarter team should put that in reverse. I don't know. That's why I asked that question. I'm rambling now.
No, they do. So the smarter teams, they for your two guards, you just need two dogs at guards. You need two pit bulls at guards. For your two tackles, you need Argentinian doggos. You need big, strong, athletic guys who can probably go both sides, right or left. You can say you draft them at the left side, but when a contract comes and I haven't given up any sacks, whether I'm right or left, I'm still getting paid. So you can throw the blind side out the window, So from an agent standpoint, it's like, okay, you're gonna try to force my hand as an organization to be like the blind side, and then from an agent standpoint, who's got a player on the right side, he can be like, heck, just look at Ike and Mark Bergin podcast, and he got to go against these Myles Garrett's, these Nick and Joey Bosa's, and these T.J. Watts. They line up on the right side of the offense, the left side of the defense, and depending on who you're going against, they got to see these guys twice if they're in their division. You feel me? So you got an argument on both sides. So that's how I look at it. Give me two pit bulls. Give me two pit bulls sitting in the middle for your two guards. Give me a smart athletic center, and give me two dancing polar bears for my two tackles.
And we're set, Ike. And we're set. There's one other thing I want to mention from last night's game because we're up against time, Ike. And the thing I noticed too, we loved what we saw from Broderick Jones and Joey Porter Jr. They both had penalties late that I think will get cleaned up. Broderick Jones on the extra point, and then they enforced it on the kickoff. That's big with field positioning. So understanding, addressing it, learning from it to where that doesn't happen moving forward.